I was born and raised in New Zealand, and I am a Muslim revert. When I told my parents that I reverted to Islam, it was like someone died in my family. My mother was so upset and embarrassed. My parents forbid me from wearing a hijab. I was raised as an atheist. I never thought that I will convert to Islam. I knew nothing about Islam, and I never wanted to learn about it. In 2014, I got a contract to work as a nurse in Saudi Arabia. I always thought Muslim women are oppressed by their husbands or fathers. Living in a Muslim country gave me the chance to know about Islam. People around me was always encouraging me to learn about Islam, but I was reluctant, as I used to think that religion brings problems. People around me always praying and reciting Quran, and it was fascinating to hear the call to prayer. Slowly I started to learn about Islam and I started to love religion. The message of Islam was so clear, and it gave me answers to all my questions. I was ready to take my Shahada, but I was hesitant, so I decided to delay. I told my family that I am thinking about converting to Islam. My mom and dad were not happy. They start begging me to come back to New Zealand. According to them, it is just a phase, and things will go back to normal once I am home. I was disappointed, but I went back to New Zealand. Back home, I start learning more about Islam. In my heart, I knew I want to revert. I knew what is right and what I need to do. Without delaying any further, I drove for 2 hours to get to the Islamic center and took my Shahada there. All the burdens went off my shoulders, and I felt so light. When I told my parents that I reverted, it was like someone died in my family. My mother was so upset and embarrassed that our friends and family would find out. My parents forbid me from wearing a hijab and asked me to pray and practice Islam in private. I was always praying, begging Allah for help, so I went back to Saudi Arabia and got married. And by the grace of Allah, now I have a good relationship with my parents. I believe in Allah. I believe in Prophet Muhammad, and he is the last messenger of Allah. I believe Quran is the word of Allah, and the angels, and life after death, and the day of judgment.